Alright guys, just real quick before we get into today's video, I have a big announcement to make. Diddy got merch! Diddy got merch! Yes, you heard me correctly. If I don't have anything else, I'm gonna have a podcast, and now I officially have merch. The Diddy Got a Podcast store is here. It will be pinned in the comment section. It will be linked in this video, and you can also find it in my YouTube store. Just remember guys, every purchase you make supports the show, keeps the content going, and it encourages me to keep doing what I'm doing. As I've told you, I am officially a full-time YouTuber now. Thank you all so much for your support. So Oprah Winfrey, yes, the Oprah Winfrey, has been subpoenaed by Drew Dixon. And for those of you who don't know, Drew Dixon is the woman that accused Russell Simmons of sexual assault. And this should come to no surprise to any of you. And this is long overdue because Oprah Winfrey has not only been on the end of conspiracy theories and rumors, but actual provable things that's happened over the course of her career over the past 25-30 years. And she's finally about to get exposed. So let's take it back to the early 2000s. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most powerful and influential figures already in media at that point in time, had a dream, not just of creating change with her platform, but of building it into the foundations of something real, something long-lasting. And that dream led her to South Africa. After a 2002 meeting with then President Nelson Mandela, Oprah was inspired to launch a school dedicated to uplifting and educating bright, underprivileged girls. She called it the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls, located in Henley on Klip, just outside of Johannesburg. Oprah spent over $40 million of her own money to make it happen. She handpicked many of the girls herself, young women from poor backgrounds, many from homes with no running water or electricity. The goal was to give them access to an elite education and, in Oprah's words, leadership tools to create meaningful change. The school opened in January 2007 with an emotional ceremony. Celebrities, journalists, and world leaders attended. The school features state-of-the-art facilities, computer and science labs, a library, a theater, and even a yoga studio. It was more than a school. It was a symbol, a message to the world that black girls matter, that their brilliance deserves investment. But then, just 10 months later, that shining dream was hit with a devastating scandal. In 2007, in October to be specific, a dormitory matron named Virginia Mokopo was arrested on allegations that she had physically and sexually assaulted several students. The charges included indecent assault, criminal injury, and verbal abuse. According to the reports, Mokopo was accused of grabbing girls by the neck, beating them, touching their private parts, and of being emotionally abusive, even threatening to unalive them if they told anyone. Several students spoke out, saying they were afraid and felt silenced. One student said Mokopo had grabbed her by the throat and thrown her against the wall. The girls were scared to report the abuse because they didn't want to lose their scholarships or, quite frankly, disappoint Oprah. When Oprah got word of the allegations, she flew to South Africa immediately, skipped press conferences and interviews, and met privately with the students and their families. I mean, according to what they said, she was visibly shaken and later told the media that this was the most devastating experience of her life. She also made this powerful statement: "I trusted her. When someone hurts your girls, you hurt." Oprah took full responsibility for what happened under her watch. She fired the head mistress of the school, replaced staff, and brought in trauma counselors. She also apologized personally to the victims and invited parents to speak with her directly. And I mean, we can't go without mentioning that Oprah Winfrey has also publicly shared how when she was a child, she was actually sexually assaulted by her brother. And this played a huge role in why she became such a symbol and an empowerment symbol for women. But I would also be remiss not to mention that Oprah Winfrey's cousin will later come out and say that Oprah Winfrey was actually lying about not only growing up poor, but just her experiences all around throughout her childhood. And when she asked Oprah Winfrey why she was lying about her upbringing, Oprah Winfrey allegedly told her it's because people prefer for you to lie to them and that the truth is a lot more boring. But back to the story. The crisis at her school actually didn't stop there. The school's former head mistress, Nomvuyo, filed a defamation lawsuit against Oprah, claiming that Oprah's public comments implied she was complicit in the abuse and ruined her professional reputation. Oprah had said she was cleaning house from top to bottom and that some people should have known what was going on. Now, keep that quote in mind because she's telling them that even if you did know, You're guilty by association because you were so close to these people, you should have known that it was happening. Remember that, because that's going to be important later in this video. Nomvuyo said these comments led to her being able to find work for years. The case went to trial in 2010, but was eventually settled out of court under confidential terms. Meanwhile, the matron Mokopo was arrested and charged, but the criminal case dragged on. Eventually, most charges were dropped due to insufficient evidence or withdrawn by the complainants, and she was released. Despite the scandal, the school remained open and continued its mission. Oprah stayed involved, and over the years, the academy began to rebuild its image. Many of its graduates went on to attend top universities around the world. Some even returned to give back to the school and contribute to the communities as leaders, lawyers, scientists, and educators. But let's talk about something a lot of people are afraid to bring up when it comes to Oprah Winfrey. Her role in promoting controversial health figures who over the years have been accused of spreading misinformation, pseudoscience, and dangerous advice. And let's be clear here, Oprah is arguably the most influential woman on the planet. Her empire spans decades, her endorsement can make or break careers, and millions trust her judgment. But that's the exact reason why this trust, this aura, has allowed her to introduce voices into mainstream culture that otherwise wouldn't have made it past the newsroom. But here's the thing, with great influence comes even greater responsibility. Oprah's journey into wellness media really took off in the 1990s and early 2000s during the height of the Oprah Winfrey Show. She dedicated countless episodes to topics like weight loss, spirituality, trauma healing, and alternative medicine, and began inviting experts to guide the conversation. Some of those experts were well credentialed, others not so much. And over time, Oprah became, not just a talk show host, but some sort of spiritual guide for millions of people watching, many of them being women, who were looking for answers about health, happiness, and healing. But the problem is that space blurred the line between empowerment and endorsement, inspiration and information. And that's where the trouble began. Let's start with the most infamous one, Dr. Oz, who at the time didn't have his show yet. Oprah introduced Dr. Oz to the world in the early 2000s. He first appeared on her show as a guest heart surgeon, giving insights on diet, exercise, and heart health. Many of her viewers loved him, so much so that in 2009, Oprah helped launch the Dr. Oz Show, just a few years after she first introduced him to the world, giving him his own platform under her company, Harpo Productions. But as the years went by, Dr. Oz started promoting unproven and often debunked remedies. Everything from green coffee bean extract for weight loss to homeopathic treatments with little to no scientific backing. A 2014 study published in BMJ found that over half of the claims on his show lacked scientific evidence or actually contradicted established science. Things got so bad, Dr. Oz was called to testify in front of Congress in 2014, where Senator Claire McCaskill said bluntly, "The scientific community is almost monolithic against you." Still, Oprah never publicly condemned or corrected him. In fact, when he ran for Senate in 2022, she gave a lukewarm statement and said she would not endorse anyone despite having launched his entire public career. And then there's Dr. Phil, another Oprah creation. She introduced him in the late 90s, and as a no-nonsense psychologist helping people work through personal issues, he became wildly popular for his blunt delivery and eventually got his own show in 2002, once again produced by Oprah's company. But here's the issue. Dr. Phil stopped practicing as a licensed psychologist in 2006, and he's been criticized for exploiting vulnerable guests for ratings, including teens, addicts, and people with serious mental health disorders. His ethics have been questioned repeatedly, especially in episodes that feature troubled teens or people with schizophrenia, aired more like reality TV than genuine therapeutic interventions. Former staffers and guests later accused the show of emotional manipulation, lack of mental health support, and even dangerous setups behind the scenes. Again, Oprah has never addressed this controversy in any meaningful way. And I'm going to tell y'all why this matters. Because whether you believe Oprah meant well or not, which I personally don't believe she meant well, and I believe she's just like any other billionaire, which means they're cutthroat, they're manipulative, and they're selfish. But whether you believe Oprah Winfrey meant well or not, the biggest issue is that for the most part, Oprah has remained mostly silent, rarely if ever acknowledging that some of the people she endorsed caused harm or stirred controversy in many people's lives. And speaking of causing harm in many people's lives, let's talk about Oprah Winfrey and her relationship with Harvey Weinstein. Oprah and Harvey both occupied the same elite circles in Hollywood. Harvey Weinstein, as head of Miramax and later the Weinstein Company, was the guy who could make or break an actor's career. Oprah, the two appeared together at several Hollywood functions, award shows, and premieres. There are photographs of Oprah hugging Weinstein, whispering in his ear, laughing in conversation, kissing him on the cheek. This in and of itself wasn't necessarily scandalous, as lots of celebrities were friendly with Weinstein back then. But here's where things started to shift. After Weinstein's downfall in 2017, when the New York Times and the New Yorker broke stories alleging decades of sexual abuse, harassment, and assault, a photo started circulating online that drew particular heat. It showed Oprah at a party with Harvey Weinstein and a young woman named Katie Noble, an aspiring actress. Later, this same person, Katie Noble, came forward and alleged that Weinstein had sexually assaulted her in 2014. She claimed that Weinstein used his reputation and celebrity connections to lure her in, specifically mentioning Oprah in her lawsuit, saying he had name-dropped Oprah and even used her alleged quote-unquote endorsement as a trust-building tool. And this hit social media like wildfire. People began posting the old photo of Oprah, Weinstein, and Noble. The story quickly turned from Oprah knew Harvey to did Oprah actually help him recruit young women? And while there was no hard proof of this being true, the image was still powerful in the court of public opinion. I mean, people wanted to know, if Oprah is so committed to empowering women, how could she be so close to someone who had been preying on them for decades? Critics began accusing Oprah of being complicit through silence, arguing that she either had to know or had chosen not to know what was happening behind the scenes. Some even speculated that Oprah's close proximity to Hollywood's elite allowed her to benefit from the same system that protected men like Weinstein. And remember, in the beginning of this video, she actually fired the people at her school, even the people that were not proven to be directly involved, because what did she say? You should have known. You being closely affiliated, you should have known. So what's the likelihood and what's the chances, just us using our common sense? Oprah is elite. She is an elitist. She is a gatekeeper. Make no mistake about it. What is the likelihood that this woman can be involved with all of these people that's been accused of all of these things, and not only is she not involved, she has no clue about it. She's completely clueless. Because if you were not clueless, why didn't you say something before they were caught? And while many celebrities came forward immediately with strong condemnations of Weinstein, Oprah's response was more measured, more general. In a speech during the Golden Globes, she supported the Me Too movement and praised those speaking out, but she didn't exactly condemn Weinstein. That silence for some spoke volumes. Then things got even crazier. People began pointing out that Oprah had also been linked to other powerful men that had been involved in scandals. From a guy by the name of John of God, a Brazilian faith healer she once endorsed, who was later convicted of sexual abuse, to Sean Diddy Combs himself, whose own history has come under all the scrutiny that we know about and all the things that Diddy has been accused of that I don't got to get into here. I mean, this fed a broader narrative that Oprah wasn't just a bystander, but a gatekeeper in an industry that has shielded abusers for decades. Now again, there's no evidence to prove Oprah was actually involved in anything illegal, but what this controversy exposed was that you could be guilty by association in the court of public opinion, but also that just because you haven't been caught yet doesn't mean you're innocent. That brings us to August of 2023. After the devastating wildfires tore through Maui, Hawaii, Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson teamed up to launch the People's Fund of Maui. They each donated $5 million of their own money and then asked the public to pitch in with the goal of providing $1,200 a month to people who had lost their homes in the disaster. But instead of praise, they were hit with a lot of criticism because a lot of people felt it was tone deaf for two of the richest celebrities in the world to be asking everyday people, many of whom are struggling financially themselves, to donate money. The public started accusing them of being out of touch or even trying to scam people despite their good intentions. The backlash was loud enough that The Rock publicly addressed it. He said he understood why people were upset and admitted they could have handled it differently. Oprah also responded saying she was caught off guard by the negative response, but remained focused on helping the people of Maui. I mean, despite the controversy, the fund actually did a lot of good, or so they say it did. They said it went on to distribute real money directly to thousands of survivors, giving many families a much needed financial lifeline as they tried to rebuild their lives. But this impact was so bad, and a lot of people to this day still feel like part of this whole donation campaign, if you will, was a scam. Which leads me to the drama surrounding the Russell Simmons documentary On the Record, and Oprah Winfrey withdrawal from the film just before its premiere. Russell Simmons wasn't just a music mogul, he was a cultural architect. Co-founder of Def Jam Records, the man behind Run DMC, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, and countless others. He helped take hip-hop from the streets of New York to the global stage, but as with many powerful men in entertainment, his rise was eventually shadowed by disturbing accusations. In 2017, when the Me Too movement gained a lot of momentum, Simmons was accused of sexual misconduct by multiple women, and eventually that number would just blow up to over 12 women, with allegations ranging from harassment to outright rape. And of course, he denied everything flat out and claimed all encounters with these women were consensual. But some of the women weren't backing down. And this is where Drew Dixon comes in, who is a former music executive who accused Simmons of raping her in the mid-1990s while she worked for him. And this is where Oprah comes in. Oprah signed on as an executive producer of On the Record, which was the name of the documentary that will be covering these women who were allegedly assaulted by Russell Simmons. But not only that, she was instrumental in securing a distribution deal with Apple TV Plus, which would have guaranteed massive viewership. Oprah's involvement gave the project legitimacy, power, and visibility. But then everything changed. Just 2 weeks before the documentary's premiere at Sundance in January 2020, Oprah pulled out. She released a statement saying that there were quote-unquote inconsistencies in the documentary's reporting and that she had concerns about the filmmaker's handling of the facts. She stressed that she still believed the women, but could not align herself with a film that she didn't fully endorse. And just like that, the film lost its Apple deal immediately, to the point where it almost felt orchestrated. Like, did you intentionally attach yourself to this documentary so that it can gain all this momentum and all this legitimacy, just so you can remove yourself last minute so that it can lose all of its momentum? And people were asking, like, Oprah, what changed? Why pull out so close to the premiere after months of being involved? Many people believe that Russell Simmons himself was the reason. He had reportedly reached out to Oprah personally, pressuring her to reconsider. In leaked messages, he begged her to, quote-unquote, take the high road and express betrayal. Russell also began publicly accusing Oprah of targeting black men, pointing out that she was involved in exposing men like Michael Jackson and now himself, but stays silent on powerful white abusers like Harvey Weinstein, who to this day, she still has never said anything bad about publicly. And that narrative caught fire. Some in the black community echoed it, arguing that Oprah was weaponizing her platform against black men. Others pushed back, saying she had every right to stand with survivors, no matter the race of the accused. And Drew Dixon, who's given multiple interviews over the years, responded with deep disappointment. She expressed pain that Oprah had pulled out, not just because of the logistics, but because she represented a trusted voice for black women. Oprah's withdrawal, according to Dixon, validated the fear that survivors have that when they finally speak up, even their heroes might abandon them. To this day, Oprah has not fully detailed why she withdrew. She maintained that it was a creative decision, not a denial of the women's stories. And the last couple of things I want to say here is, as an honorable mention, the Michael Jackson thing that Russell Simmons referenced is important to note. Because if you remember, Michael Jackson was accused of several things throughout his career as well, and he had a close relationship with Oprah. And despite the fact that a lot of people don't remember this or know this, but Michael Jackson was actually found not guilty multiple times in the court of law. And despite those facts, Oprah Winfrey, after Michael Jackson trusted her, did an interview with Oprah Winfrey where she waited till they got on camera so that she can still decide to grill Michael Jackson and ask questions, frame questions and statements in a way to still make Michael Jackson look either guilty or questionable at best. And a lot of people did not like that. They feel like she tricked Michael Jackson. And then after he passed away, of course, she was also part of the documentary that once again accused Michael Jackson of assaulting little boys, even though there's very little evidence to prove so. And the last thing I want to say is in reference to what Drew Dixon said in her interview. If you remember, she said that she was disappointed because it showed her that sometimes even your heroes will let you down. That's why celebrities should not be our heroes. That's why no human being should be our heroes. Because all of these people are corrupt. All of these people are in cahoots with each other. All of these people, in my personal opinion, and by all of them I mean the people that are elitist, are a part of their own secret club. And whether it's a man, woman, black or white, They all in it together, and it's them against us. That's really the way that I see it. And here we are in 2025, and Oprah Winfrey, after, in my opinion, escaping a lot of things that really could have took her down, maybe we would finally, at the very least, see her in a court of law, and maybe she would have to speak to or answer to some of the things that she may have some knowledge about. Y'all up in the comment section, give me your thoughts. If you watched this far, I appreciate you for watching this far. This is one of my longer videos. I typically don't drop videos this long, but if you watch this far, I really appreciate it. Hop in the comment section, let me know what you think about this situation. Do you believe the stuff that's being said about Oprah? Do you think that this is not a big deal and this subpoena will basically go nowhere? Let me know what you all think in the comment section below. I'm Demetrius. I go by DD. That's all for this, man. Until next time. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.